What's going on, YouTube? Q back here again with another video for you. Today's video, this is going to be the most important video I've dropped to date, and I'm talking about a scam, or what people might think is a scam, but it's actually not. So I see a lot of videos with people cutting up in traffic, doing high-risk maneuvers, and I just don't think it's safe. Unfortunately, a couple days ago, my family had to bury a loved one because car accident. So that's all this video has to do with cars. I want to talk to something else that's a little bit more serious. So I think it's the worst thing ever when you have to bury a loved one and the funds aren't there. And unfortunately, this is what happened in my family's case. So money had to be raised, and I think that's probably one of the worst things that you can do. It's unfortunate, but today I would like to educate people, shine some light on this topic. So I know that GoFundMe is a popular way to bury people when you have to, and money is raised. And if you got to do it, you got to do it. But I think we should take some precautionary steps, and there's a way to stop that from happening, and that's by way of life insurance. So I'm not a life insurance expert, but I do have a couple policies on myself. My family is covered, and I think it's something that all of you all should consider. Like, I know a lot of companies provide it for their employees, but I think you should have one on the side as well. And there's a couple different ways, and I'll briefly talk about that. But I'm going to go ahead, before people click off the video, I'm going to drop my guy Robynne Henry, drop his information. He's a financial advisor. He got me set up with my life insurance policy. He gave me 5 different companies, 5 reputable companies, and this is no BS stuff, just real good, top tier, high level, well-known companies. And he gave me the prices, and I just got to pick which one. I chose their mission statement and reputation. So I'll put his information on the screen, drop his information in the description, so hopefully y'all can make this choice. But I'm going to expound more on this. So with life insurance, the younger you get into it, the better off you'll be. And by better, I mean cheaper. So it's not expensive at all. So like I mentioned earlier, you got term policies and you got whole life policies. Now, I'm not an expert at this at all, so contact Robynne for that. But a term policy is you basically pay annually, and this is an amount. So there's a couple different pros and cons to it. Some people, a whole life policy is like an investment thing, so you can borrow from that at a later date if you need to. And some term policies can be converted into whole life policies. So there's combinations. Some people mix and match both. It's a different policy for everybody out there. Term policy you can't borrow from is just, if you kick the bucket, then you're covered. And I pay mine annually. And it's so inexpensive, man. This is the part that I don't understand. Maybe people just don't know, so I'm here to shed light on that. Because I think it's people knowing me, like that's what sucks for me. Like, this was a relative of mine, a cousin of mine that passed away, no life insurance. And I think to know me, like, it sucks that people around me, I know this information, I didn't convey that information to other people, so I'm conveying it to you also. Because I feel kind of bad to not have gotten that information to my loved ones. I hope they all watch the video, but they're not all subscribed to my channel, so hopefully you all can share this, talk to it with your families, and especially the younger people. Older people you probably know, and I know it's more of a community thing too. In certain communities, these topics aren't discussed, but I think this really, really needs to be discussed. And things like wills too. Talk to your parents about wills. I got to do the same thing. Life insurance policies, to bury a person costs around $10,000. Like, funerals are expensive, man. I see why people are cremated, because it's cheaper, but it's still expensive. Just the plot of land is like $1,000 to $2,000 just for the little to go in the ground. But talking about the life insurance, I got multiple life insurance on myself, my wife, kids are covered. You can get it through your employer. That's probably the most common way, but I have it outside of my employer as well. And let me just talk about the numbers. I'm trying to be as transparent as I can. So for me, one of my policies, should I kick the bucket, I'm covered for $400,000 on this one policy. And do you know how much a policy like that would cost? Now, this is a term policy. I want you to guess. So for the year, annually, I pay $270 every year to be covered for $400,000. That's how people come up in life. on life insurance policies. Like, that's when you lose the loved one, it sucks to have to leave. It already sucks that you have to, they're going to miss your presence, your absence, so people are mourning. It sucks to leave people mourning and indebted to your burial because something like a life insurance policy wasn't had. So please consider this. Like, even if you don't go with my guy Robynne, just look for it yourself. A little $10,000 policy just to ensure you're at least buried. It's probably like $10, man, like $5-10 a month. You don't even have to do the whole thing at once. It is extremely inexpensive. And then if you have a whole life policy, now I bought a whole and a term life policy. I didn't know what I was doing, just trying to navigate, learning from mistakes. I ended up canceling my whole life policy because I thought I could just invest the rest that I saved by going with the term policy. Do whatever works for you, but I will probably circle back around to a whole life policy because I do see the value in there. It helps to have both. But a whole life policy is more expensive. But for something like $100,000 policy, at the time I got it, it was expensive to me at that point in time. But coming back around to it, I probably should have one of those as well. But there is benefits. If you need to borrow from, these things aren't meant to borrow from, like a 401k, IRAs. You're not supposed to borrow from these, but same with the whole life insurance policy. But once they mature to the date where the policy is paid off in full, that's years, maybe 20-30 years down the line, it starts to, the longer you're into it, the more the money grows into it. And you can use from it, and the penalties can be minor depending on how you do it. But like I said, I'm not an expert on this, but I just know it's just great to have. And that way your beneficiaries can be covered, man. Like, and then like people can come up with a lot of wealth from this too. It's unfortunate that you lose the loved one, but don't lose them and go into debt over it. Like, at least they'll be happy monetarily. Please take heed. Don't, like, I know this isn't a car video, but this is recent on me. Like, I just had to say something about it because I see a lot of GoFundMes and dinner parties raised, and it's much cheaper just to, you can spend probably $10 a month and be covered and have money left over afterwards to go to one of your beneficiaries. Like I said, hopefully you listen and consider. Be safe out there, man, because you never know when your time is going to be. So make sure you are covered. Like, it is not a scam. They generally pay out. Like, I lost my mother. I said it in another video, and her policy was just enough to bury her, and that was it. But at least me and my sister didn't have the financial burden of having to come up with the money to do that. Like, my mom did her due diligence and got a policy to make sure she's able to settle in the ground should the time come prematurely, which it did. But such is life. Hopefully y'all take value in this. Please go shop a life insurance policy, because it's GoFundMe's, like, those don't sit well with me, but you got to do what you got to do. So now that you know this information, I'm holding you accountable. So go out there, shop around for a policy. Like, have something alongside with your employer's life insurance policy too, because jobs aren't always permanent, and once you're no longer an employee, that's a job benefit. So if you're ousted from the job, then that policy could be gone as well. It's so cheap. It's too cheap to not have, and it's only beneficiary to me. Just a few dollars, man. Like I said, $400,000 just on one policy, $200 something a year, which it makes no sense to me to not do. But I'm gonna leave you all with this. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you all take heed to this information, because this is really tearing me up on the inside that people just don't know this. So I'm here to share this with you. Hopefully it picks up on the algorithm, because this is not a car video. I mentioned car in here, got the car in the background. Cousin died in a car accident, so hopefully that picks up on the algorithm to have this as a car. But this was a finance channel, and this is more along on that side. But I try to drop a few gems whenever I can on finance and life things. I am older than a lot of my audience. If you like videos like these, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, browse the channel. Shout out to the men of culture. Got Race Car Friends, Blueprint 1 LE, and 100 Gang Nate. Like I said, this will be common knowledge to some, but it is not always talked about in certain communities. So I want you all in the know, because this is one of those things that's right in front of your face, but it's hidden. So please be aware, take heed to this information. Love you all, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace out.
Happy birthday. I'm good.